You know the adult undergarments for incontinence? He's saying, I should have worn Depends, because he's just had an accident when he's told this. In other words, I see here the face of fear. I see fear. I see terror. He doesn't know what to do next. And his friend Ari Fleischer is holding up a big sign saying, don't say anything. He's glad not to say anything. Now, he sits there then for 10 to 15 minutes listening to My Pet Goat. And again, one of the first persons you want to subpoena is the head of the Secret Service. Why did your men not take him out of the room to a bunker? There's one person in his entourage who says, we're out of here. It's reported to be a Secret Service agent or the Marine who's carrying the football, the nuclear launch coach. But just the fact that he's sitting there is already an unbelievable violation of all the possible rules. And you really want to go after the Secret Service because you'd have to assume they're part of the coup. Because this is a coup. A coup, of course, is when one part of the government carries out a violent attack on another part of the government and people can die. And they do die. And in this case, they did die. Now look, he's talking from the school. The clock back here, you can't see it on my slide because of my technical problem. My Ford Foundation grant didn't come through for these slides. But it's 9:25. So it's the first plane hits at about 8:45. So this is now what, this is 40 minutes after the first impact and 22 minutes after the second impact. And he's still in the school. He's still in the school. And now, at 9:29, which is now 34 minutes after the first impact and 26 minutes after the second, he's going to give a speech in the school with television. And this is where he says, freedom itself was attacked. And he does say terrorism this time. Now he's leaving Sarasota. And he's departing Sarasota. Now the interesting thing is, he has no fighter escort. The whole U.S. Air Force cannot spare 2 F-15s or F-16s to escort the presidential plane. He is denuded. And it's at this point that he gets the threat, Angel is next. And if you read my book, as I hope you do, he's getting messages saying, kamikaze aircraft are approaching you, they're going to crash into you. He said, your home in Crawford, Texas is under attack, he's told. And here's where he goes. He starts in Sarasota, right? And he could have gone to any of these other Air Force bases. Here's Homestead, that's probably the closest. There are others. But instead he goes to Barksdale, Louisiana. Why is that? Barksdale is the #2 thermonuclear warfighting headquarters. It is the home of the Night Watch Looking Glass Doomsday aircraft, the flying command centers designed to stay up for 2 weeks at most, refueled in the air, to fight a thermonuclear war. Now the hypothesis here has always been he has to go there to establish his control of the nuclear weapons, because the faction that has attempted to seize control of the government could launch the missiles unless he's actually on the scene somewhere saying, no, I'm the president and I did not issue that order. So he goes there first, and he goes then to Nebraska. This is the old headquarters of the Strategic Air Command. Why does he go there? That's the #1 thermonuclear warfighting base. And there he goes into the bunker system. So the 2 places he goes are both the top, the number 2 and then the #1 thermonuclear warfighting base. And again, the idea is to assert that he's in control of the nuclear forces. Now this is after approximately 2 hours on the way from Sarasota to Barksdale, I believe. He finally gets fighter escort. After 2 hours, there's no fighter escort and he finally gets it. And at the beginning, the pilot of his plane refuses to tell the escorts where they're going. He just says, follow me, I'm not telling you where we're going. So they don't trust him. Because they don't know, of course, the Air Force is heavily involved in the crew. Now here he is at Barksdale, talking to Air Force personnel. He gives a speech at Barksdale. The word terrorism has disappeared from the speech. He doesn't say terrorism at all, as Mason has pointed out. And finally, when he gets to Nebraska, he goes into the bunker. He is an expendable puppet, an expendable asset, fighting for survival. Because again, he's told, you do what we say, or we will find another way to get along. From Offa, he engages in negotiations. I call these negotiations. This is supposed to be a teleconference with people at the Pentagon and elsewhere. But to me, this is a process of negotiation between officers who are essentially speaking for the coup and the president who is fighting for his life. So, of course, he is a villain. He eagerly capitulates. He eagerly offers himself. There's no resistance as far as I can see. He then capitulates. Here's the other end. This is the Pentagon Command Center where some of those people at the other end of the line moved in. And this is the moment now. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening. He's back in the White House and he says, we will make no distinction between those countries that harbor terrorism and the terrorists themselves, so choose sides, you world. And that is the declaration of the War of Civilizations. That's what the Rogue Network wanted. In the bunker here with Bush, Richard Clark. This is the meeting where Clark says, okay, we're going to do a pro forma investigation. We all know it was bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, don't we? Because you don't. You don't know that. And they've never proved it. The entire commission, right, the Kane-Hamilton Commission, is an exercise in begging the question. In other words, you don't prove what you're supposed to prove. You assume it's true, and then you take it from there. So, impeach for treason. Now let's just look into the other side briefly, which is the drills. Here we are at NORAD, at North American Air Defense Command, under this big Cheyenne Mountain, Boulder, Colorado, and this is the Air Defense. General that day is a Canadian, because it alternates, right? One day U.S., one day Canadian. And in particular, we want to look at the Northeast Air Defense Sector, Griffith Air Force Base, Rome, New York. And they're looking at the screens. General Larry Arnold is an important guy. We saw Myers before. There are one or two others. And here's Colonel Maher. Remember him? He's the guy who couldn't launch his aircraft. Well, what they do launch, what they have launched, is they have a special AWACS over Washington and an AWACS over Florida where Bush is. And this is done by Larry Arnold on his own initiative to say, let's have a little drill. Well, that would be an obvious thing if you wanted to have a coup, because you want to control Washington and you want to control where the president is. Those are your two main concerns. So they do all that. And now this is the heart of my research, which, because of Guy Fawkes, I do not put in the center of attention tonight, which I have in the past and do in my book and will again. On 9/11, you have the greatest density of military drills, military exercises in the entire history of the United States, by far. 25 plus drills. Either going on that day, recently concluded, say in about the 2 or 3 months before, or in the advanced stages of planning for soon after. And this includes, let me just run through a couple of them, just take a minute or two. You have about a dozen air drills, which take most of the fighters that would have been between Boston and New York, and it sends them to Alaska, Northern Canada, Iceland, and Saudi Arabia and Turkey, interlinked, for the illegal unilateral no-fly zone of northern and southern Iraq. So even here, the assets you needed for defense were in Iraq. The reason they do this is because if there are lots of planes, somebody might respond. It's easier to be sure that nobody will respond. Because again, it's not the whole Air Force doing this. It's only a selected network of people that they can rely on. Like, I think Colonel Maher might be in that category, although don't quote me. So you've got all of that. And of course, they are running hijack drills. There are hijack drills planned that day. We have the tapes from Needs, and one of them says, wait a minute, something's wrong. The hijacking is not supposed to be for another hour. The hijacking is not supposed to be for another hour. Now, that, of course, makes us think that if the 19 patsies were there at all, which there's no proof, if the patsies were there, they were probably there thinking that they were paid actors in a drill. In other words, they were double agents who were told, guys, you know, you can make $500 by playing Middle East terrorists, right? You guys look the part. You're straight from Central Casting, right? You're dark-skinned and all the rest of it. You really look like a terrorist. Come and make some money, and you go home that